Hey, everybody. Welcome to ATD Greater Atlanta's web series, Building Our Vision. 2020 has changed everything that what we do, from how we work to how we live. So we've tapped a couple of experts in our community to help us build our vision of the future in these uncertain times. Our guest today is Dr. Sandra Wright. She's the CEO of the Wright Training Solutions and the founder of the Networking Avenue Possibilities Unlimited for Women. Dr. Wright is here to talk to us about a crucial practice that we all need to incorporate into our lives, and that is self-care. So thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Wright.
Thank you.
So Dr. Wright, let's get a little bit into your background. You have a master's degree in education and a master's degree in adult education and a PhD in training and performance improvement. So what inspired you to dedicate yourself to education and training?
Well, I did a volunteer internship with a GED program, and I saw how people could not read. And I saw how they needed some help with not only reading, but doing other things, just being a part of life. And so I would teach anything from GED programs to customer service or how to deal with problem solving. I would do it one on one sometimes. And from there, I went and got my master's degree from Florida A&M University. And I started my PhD program at Florida State University, but I stopped because I was very young and I just was tired of going from school, going from high school straight to my PhD program. So I didn't finish my PhD program until 2013. So I'm kind of a newbie. A lot of people think, oh, she's been had. No, I got it in 2013 in training and performance improvement. And I did that because between that time, I became a director of training and education at a couple of healthcare entities. And then I became a campus director at a career college. And that was one of the ways I got to do my book. I did a book called Medical Assisting, Administrative and Clinical Competencies. And the way I started there is that I would order the books for my students in the program, and I started reading the books, and I started with my team, and we would look through things, and I started seeing contributors. So I called the person that was over all the contributors, and I asked, "Can I do this?" And she said, "Yeah, we need somebody right now." So she
Wow.
started me out with PowerPoints because with the book there was a disc and some of the PowerPoints with that, and I did some curriculum development with that as well. And I also did start doing things like test banks, whatever. And then in about a year, she asked me would I co-author a book because I was so good. Well, at that time, I was, even though I was campus director, I went back and got my certificate in medical assisting myself. And so from there, it was history. Yeah.
What is medical
And I've also
assisting?
written a children's book. I've also written a children's book. Yeah.
Oh, that's
And it's
right.
called,
What's what's it called again?
Queen Imani, Queen of Love.
Oh my goodness.
So I co-authored this with my daughter.
Oh,
She actually started this at a young age, but this is it.
that's beautiful. What's it about?
It's kind of it's the Queen.
Uh-huh.
She is actually Queen of Love and Smiles. It's a children's book, and all of us, I can't tell you all of it because you guys got to buy the book. But anyway, a
Smart.
dark cloud comes over her land. She's the Queen of Love and Smiles, and a dark
Perfect.
cloud comes over her land, and she doesn't know what to do. So
That's
there you go.
amazing. I feel like I need to read that book right now. 2020 has been that dark cloud.
Oh wow! Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
Um, so how did you start your own company? So you're CEO of the Wright Training Solutions. What made you go off on your own and be, a businesswoman and a CEO?
Well, I had been thinking about it, praying about it, and I actually got kicked out. That's how it started. I told you. You know, sometimes when you pray about something, you don't know what to do. And so all of a sudden, um, I was director of training and development for a company, and a small company, and they needed the HR director left suddenly, and I became interim HR director. And during that time, a person was hired in another director position, but the people would always be coming to the HR person, me, and making complaints about him. And then he started firing people, and I had to sit down with him and talk to him and say, you know, even though this is at will state, there's still a process because we have policies and procedures in place to fire somebody. You just can't get up and fire anybody. Mm-hmm. So he was angry with me. We had a couple of words, and then he went to the CEO on me. And I was trying to explain to her what was going on. And little did I know that they were friends, very, very close friends. And actually, she did the hiring of him. Oh and so I went, something told me to go back and look at his background. And when I checked into his background, everything that he had on his application was a lie. And so I was told by the CEO I shouldn't have done that, even though I was interim. So she put me on administrative leave for about 3 or 4 months, and I was just really angry. But during that time, I did some substitute teaching to just kind of keep myself busy before she decided to fire me. And so she fired me, but during that time, a very dear friend of mine was cousin to the vice president of the New York Times regional newspaper group. So they have newspapers all over the United States. And so he gave me the territory of Florida, North and South Carolina. So I was able to go in and do some training on change management, problem solving, and customer service. So it was like a blessing in disguise because you remember I told you I wanted to leave and start my own business. So I was kicked out there. God said, you know, get out of here. I keep telling you, you get your wings back.
That's right. Ooh. Yep, it's like, you know, one door closes and another opens. Everything happens for a reason.
And it actually was perfect timing. Perfect timing.
That's amazing. Perfect timing. Well, I'm so happy that, you know, you are where you are. How did you get involved in ATD? How long have you been an ATD member?
So much. There's a wealth of information you can get from each other. Everybody brings their stories in. Everybody brings such a wealth of information. It's just an awesome organization.
Yay. Well, we're so happy to have you. So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions now about self-care. Okay, let's talk self-care. So why has self-care become such a huge buzzword in the last, few years or so?
Well, even more so now in 2020.
Yes.
I think everybody is so busy doing other things, they're not taking care of themselves. And every time you look on TV, somebody is doing something, they're getting tired, they're going to the hospital. I've even seen younger people have heart attacks and strokes, and it's because there's only so many hours in a day, 24, but most people are they think that it's about 72 hours in one day. So because they're multitasking, they're doing so many things, and by the time they go to bed, they're worn out. Then they have to get right back up in the morning, and some people are workaholics.
Yes.
And you never ever love on yourself. So it's about loving on yourself. And if you don't love on yourself, you are going to burn out. You're going to burn out. You are going to burn out. There's no other way to say it.
How do you know if you're burned out or not?
When you just stop just thinking about, you wake up in the morning and say, whew, another morning, really? Instead of jumping up and saying, oh, wow, such a beautiful morning. And so that's what I started doing. Like, oh, such a beautiful morning. I breathe in and I breathe out. I breathe in, I breathe out, and say to myself, it's a wonderful morning. And as you get older, and I just had a birthday last week, September 17th, you start saying even more so, wow, such a beautiful day. I'm alive. I'm well. I can walk. I can talk. I can hear. I can speak. I can taste. And so you know that you're on your way to self-care because you're starting to love on yourself. And you get up and you do things that are profitable to you or prosperous to you, however you want to call it. And you keep moving. And one of the things I do is I do yoga, or yoga does me. I'm not sure, because anybody that does yoga, and I'm a beginning person, it's hard, but
Yeah.
it's good. It stretches me out. It makes me, you actually can lose weight and do some other things and meditate and things like that. But like I said, yoga, I don't do yoga. Yoga does me, because a lot of times I'm like, oh, wow, this hurts. I didn't know it looks easy. It looks easy when you're doing it. And
Oh yeah.
I do it through TV, and it looks so easy. And then I started doing like, no, it's not that easy. No, it's not. I
It's
think I'm gonna
pretty
go back to my
crazy.
regular exercise.
It's pretty crazy, some of the positions that they try
Oh
to
yeah,
put you in.
oh yeah. And do not try. If you're a beginner, do not try to do the advanced positions. You will hurt yourself. Trust me.
Awesome.
So,
So that's wonderful. So I have a kind of a, I don't know, a question, I guess. So what is it about our daily lives that makes us so stressed out all the time? Like what are those things that build up that stress that that we don't even realize, but then we need to counteract it with self-care? Like, what is it about our workplace or our home life or anything that makes us stressed out?
well, I think one of the things with our work life is that we want to make sure that we're better than the best. And a lot of times people are so afraid of losing their jobs. And so
Mhm.
they go over and beyond. And you never know what people are going through. And so while you're rushing off to do the best thing for your job, and you keep doing the best thing you think for your job, and you're multitasking, and you're being the go-to person,
Mhm.
and you're always raising your hand, then at home you suffer because you and your family are suffering. And so you go home and you try to figure that out. And while you're figuring it out, you're rushing back to work. And so there's only one of you. There's only one of you. And that's what I talk about. There's something in my presentation I talked about, the Warren Buffett talk.
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember seeing that.
I do,
Okay,
yeah.
here's what Warren Buffett said. He said to a young group of people, he said, if you had one time to choose one car, no matter what color it is, no matter how expensive it was, that you would choose for the rest of your life. You got to choose one you cannot get another car for the rest of your life. The rest of your life. What car would you choose? What color would you choose? So in choosing that color and that talk, you take that same scenario to your body. You only have one body, and you got to deal with that one body through the rest of your life. How are you going to take care of that body? Are you going to let it go astray? Are you going to kick it to the curb? What are you going to do with that one body? You have to have self-care, whether it starts here, it
Mhm.
starts here, and in your body. You've got to eat right, you got to think right, and you got to move right. And you
Mhm.
got to love on you first. And that's what goes back to the oxygen principle. I talk about that. The oxygen principle is, when you get on the airplane, the flight attendant talks about pulling down oxygen.
Yeah.
Most people hear blah, 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 blah. Because if you've been on an airplane more than one time, you pretty much know that this is what this person is going to be saying
Mhm.
about the oxygen principle. Pull it down first so you don't hear it. So when it's really time for you to do the oxygen principle yourself, you don't remember it as much. Hold on.
Mhm.
My phone is ringing. But you don't hear it as much yourself. But you should remember it, because if you don't pull that oxygen mask to yourself first, and you have other people beside you, say for instance, if you have your kids, and you're trying to put their mask on and you don't have your mask on, you may faint because lack of oxygen. So
Mhm.
you put your mask on first, so you'll be able to help someone else next. So that's the oxygen principle.
I think that's really profound, because a lot of times we think, okay, we want to be a good person. And the part of being a good person is taking care of the people around you, taking care of your spouse or your kids or your parents or your neighbors. And that kind of
Absolutely.
self-sacrifice feels really good. It feels like, oh, I'm doing a really good thing right now by helping all these other people, even at the expense of myself, like, and that feels good. So how can we break ourselves of that impulse to, become a martyr, or sacrifice, overextend ourselves for other people?
Well, it starts here to me.
Excuse me.
It starts here. You've got to think
Yeah.
about what would happen to this body or this car if I don't take care of it. Can I drive this car like the Warren Buffett talk? If I don't put new tires on it, if I don't get an oil change, if I don't get new sparks plugs every so often, if I don't maintain my body, what's going to happen? You're going to have to take it somewhere else. It's not going to last you a lifetime. You're going to have to sell it or trade it in, or it's going to go what? Kapunk.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be picking up for scrap metal. You don't
Mhm.
want your body to be picked up for scrap metal. So you recharge yourself. You go get those spark plugs done. You go get those new tires. Whatever maintains you, you go do your yoga classes. You go
Mhm.
to the doctor on a regular basis, at least once a year. If you are really getting emotionally down and depressed, there's something called a therapist. Go to your therapist. If you don't have the money to go to a therapist, maybe go to your pastor or their best friend that you know that won't tell your secrets. Because a lot of times people are, oh, I don't want to go to somebody because they may tell my business. But somewhere, there's somebody that you can talk to.
Yeah.
So whether it's your minister, a doctor, a friend, or whatever, but
Mhm.
go and do that. That's maintaining your body. That's putting new spark plugs there. That's doing another tune up, oil change. All of that is part of maintaining yourself.
I think that's a great point. I think it's hard to do, for people, but I think it's so important. And
It takes one step at a time.
yeah,
One step.
definitely.
And the first step is knowing that you are tired. That's the first step. It comes start here. I know something is going on with my body. I know that I need to do something. If it's nothing but just laying in the bed all day and just in your pajamas, just watching TV. Because, like I said, I was a former candidate for Fulton County School Board, and after the school board meeting, I had been running for. People don't realize how hard it is to be in running for a political office, but I started in last November, and I didn't end until August. And so everybody was asking me, oh, you must be feeling sad. Are you crying? I said, no, I'm happy because I don't have to do this anymore. And so for a full week, I pretty much walked around in my pajamas doing nothing. Just, just, just looking at Netflix every day. And there's a movie called, a TV series called Family Business on Netflix. It is so funny and I love it. And I just binge watch things like that and just did nothing for a whole week. And it was wonderful. It was truly wonderful.
That's incredible. Um, if you don't mind, can we talk a little bit about your school board run, and kind of how did you practice self-care while you were running for office? I mean, it's a full-time job. You have another full-time job on top of that. Like, how did you balance all of that? And then how did you incorporate self-care during your election?
Well, during that time, here's what happened. With my full-time business, it became zero business because, as you know, COVID-19 came in.
Hmm.
So all the contracts that I had or thought I had, I was just rooting for it, they went kaput. They went
Yep.
zero. So since January, I have not had one live training conference.
So did you incorporate any kind of self-care, or, like how did you kind of deal with all of those changes in your life? And then, um, with COVID, like, all the contracts drying up and all this, like, how did you take a step back and incorporate self-care into your life?
Well, because one of the things I started doing when my contracts ended, I started. Someone told me to do this. Everything that I had, every presentation I had, I started writing a small book about it. So
Mm-hmm.
if I had a class on customer service, I took some of my PowerPoints and added some things. So I've been doing some little small booklets
Mm-hmm.
on my training. And then also I've been writing more. I'm writing a novel now.
Oh, nice.
I want to change into a screenplay. So I've been doing a lot of writing lately. And I have a screenplay play. And so if anybody knows Tyler Perry or Oprah Winfrey, or anybody out there, I
Of
have a
course.
screenplay for them. Please contact me so I can give you my screenplay. I'm
That's so
almost
good.
finished. I got maybe 1 or 2 pages to go, and I'll be finished.
That's
So I've
amazing.
been that to me is part of my therapy. When I'm feeling a little down and I need some self care, I start writing.
Writing.
Writing
That's
is therapy.
wonderful. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I also, when I'm sad or, whatever, I just pull my journal out and like I'm 13 again, just writing to my diary.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
So I have a question kind of more on like a societal level. So self-care, it has become like a trend, or a buzzword or whatever. So a lot of times we get a lot of marketing, saying that this product is going to help you do self-care, or um, we like, you, in order to do self-care, you need to have this kind of skincare mask or this kind of massager, or whatever. It's all about products and material things that you have to buy in order to do self-care. You got to go get your nails done, which costs money, or you got to go get a massage, all of these things. Like, it seems like self-care isn't accessible if you don't have money to go and do it, right? So like, how do you figure out how to do self-care without spending a lot of money on things?
Well, if you're like me and all your contracts have dried up, you learn how to do different things. You learn about places like Dollar Tree, and you go get your own nail polish and your own emery board and things like that. And you start practicing yourself, and you say, "Oh, I don't like that color. Let me do another color. It only costs maybe a couple of dollars." But now, if you want to go to a nail salon, that's on you.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just a little nervous about certain things with me. But my thing is that I don't particularly want to go to a nail salon at this particular time. Nothing to do with anything, because she's a great person.
Hmm.
I just want to practice myself right now. And so what I've done in the past is I'll go to places like a dollar store or do something like that. But I don't spend a lot of money on products for self-care, because self-care starts here. Remember I said, so you can get all the nails you could want to do all day long, and they can be as long as you want them to be. But will you feel any better? You may not. But I do like aromatherapy now. I
Yeah.
do like aromatherapy. And so a lot of times I'll have lavender or peppermint, but that's just me. I've always done that even before COVID-19 or anything else. That's just something. And sometimes I have a little lavender bottle, and I'll sprinkle a couple of drops on my pillow at night, and the smell is just so wonderful and just kind of puts you to sleep. So I do like lavender, but I don't spend a lot of money on that, because, as I said again, it's not about products. It's here and here. You can get all the skin mask you want to, and your face can look perfect, and you still say to yourself, "Wow, how can I get better?" And then you go buy another mask. You say, "How can I get better?" And what has happened is that it hasn't happened here. And if it hasn't happened here, I don't care how pretty you look. I've seen some beautiful women, some handsome men, but it hasn't happened here. And if it hasn't happened here, self care will deteriorate,
Yeah.
because you got to start here. Got to start here.
I mean, that's perfect. That's you're so right. It really does need to come from the heart before
From
in
here and
this,
here. Yep,
yeah,
from here and here.
spending all the money in the world isn't going to make you feel better.
Not at all. Not
Right.
at all. It's just going to change your pocketbook to zero.
Right. Make you more stressed out.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, okay, so one thing that we were kind of talking about before that really you find, is helpful and then I also love is doing a little dancing. Um, so you said that you had a little line dance to teach us, is that right?
I do.
Okay, well,
And
give
not
me
only that, dancing will pump you up and then make you smile. And when you smile, that's part of self-care. And dancing will also give you some exercise. So you got several things that's going on there for
that's so true.
self-care.
All right, so give me one moment. I'm gonna pull up our little dance right here and
Okay.
and we can start our little tutorial.
Just that dance and play.
Okay.
Report to the dance floor. Step up, step side, step back. Step up, step side, step back. Step up, step back, step back. Turn to the right. Turn to the left.
I feel great now, actually. I feel really it's
So
warm
I got
and
you dancing early in the morning, huh?
exactly.
Even before noon.
Exactly. I don't even have a drink in my hand right
Well, at least I had some coffee.
now. Oh, well, thank you so much, Dr. Wright. This has been a lot of fun. I I feel like I learned a lot more about self-care and how it needs to come from here and here before before, it can
And
come from.
think about the oxygen, and make sure you think about the oxygen principle. And
Yes.
think about the Warren Buffett talk as well.
Yes.
You've only got one you. How are you going to deal with it for the rest of your life?
I think
Love
yes.
on you first. Even if you have to say affirmations when you get out of bed in the morning, just hug yourself, step on the floor. It's going to be a great day. Whether somebody else say it, you say it first. And as you say those words, you can move into that direction. No matter what, even if it's raining, like on my birthday, it rained, but I decided I was going to have a good day anyway. And so I did. And guess what? At the end of the day, the sun came out. the rain just cleared it up for the sunshine to come.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes. I think wise words. Thank you so much. I think this is going to help a lot of people. 2020, we're all experiencing difficulties.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
so I really appreciate it. Um, if anybody listening to this or watching this wants to connect with Dr. Sandra Wright, I'm going to put her contact information in the description box down below. Dr. Wright, do you have any, last words of wisdom or anything that you want to say to the people before we end it?
Stay true to yourself. Love on yourself. If there's something that you want to do in life right now, even though you may be doing something differently, move toward it. The more you move toward it, the more it's going to happen. But if you stand still and do nothing, nothing will happen. You are not a tree. A tree stands still. Move, move, and move. And you can see it may happen slowly, but it's going to happen. And see, that's what happened to me. You don't want to get kicked out like I did. You know, you don't necessarily want to get fired. But I kept thinking about it. I kept doing little things. And so I'm a very spiritual person. So I knew God knew that I wanted to move and leave. So he just kicked me out. Just kicked me out. And when he kicked me out, I was actually in the arms of New York Times. Now,
There you go.
what a blessing. That's why I do this music called Blessing on Blessings on Blessings. That was my blessing. I landed in the arms of the New York Times. Now, I could have landed like around the corner getting paid like $25 an hour or something like that. But I landed in getting a big contract and traveling all over the United States for the New York Times. So you just never know where you may end, but you got to reach out on the limb to get the good fruit. You got to take the risk and reach out there and get that good fruit and keep moving and keep moving and keep moving.
Wonderful.
It has been a plum pleasing pleasure.
It really has been. It really has been. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Wright. And stay safe, everybody. Stay tuned for our next episode. It'll be coming out soon. All right. Have a good one. Bye.